Have you ever noticed how the harder you try to hold on to someone or something, the faster it slips through your fingers? Each text, each message, each effort you make often seems to push people away rather than draw them closer. It's a strange paradox that almost everyone experiences, yet very few truly understand. In a world that constantly rewards attention, recognition, and approval, chasing these things has become second nature. We mistake visibility for value, effort for influence, and urgency for importance. But Stoic philosophy offers a different perspective, one that flips this pattern entirely. True strength is quiet. True influence doesn't scream or insist. It doesn't force connection or demand validation. It grows in the space of calm, in the steadiness of presence, in the mastery of one's own mind. When you stop reacting to every impulse, when you release the need to control outcomes, you reclaim something far more valuable than attention: your balance, your energy, and your dignity. The people and opportunities you attract when you act from this place aren't forced. They emerge naturally. They're drawn to the calm authority of someone who stands firm without begging to be noticed. Today, we're going to explore why letting go of compulsion, anchoring yourself in principle, and mastering your inner world can create respect, admiration, and meaningful connections far more effectively than chasing ever could. The first thing to understand is this: chasing is a reflection of imbalance. When you feel compelled to reach out repeatedly, to clarify yourself, to explain or justify, it isn't about the other person. It's about your own uncertainty. It's about the quiet, nagging voice that questions your worth. Each attempt to force connection signals anxiety, not confidence. Our society often teaches us that effort equals value, but the Stoics understood that influence begins from within. How you feel inside dictates how others perceive you far more than any outward action. Think back to the times you've texted, called, or reached out again and again, only to be met with silence or indifference. That discomfort you felt wasn't caused by them. It was a reflection of your own need for approval. When you chase, you begin to trade your attention as currency, and desperation diminishes your value. Even if people can't articulate why, they sense it. The disciplined mind takes a different approach. It observes the impulse to chase without acting on it. It distinguishes between what belongs to you and what belongs to others. Your self-worth does not depend on someone else's acknowledgement, and the world does not require your reaction to every small thing. This doesn't mean you ignore people or situations. It means you act with purpose rather than compulsion. In practice, this might look like pausing before replying to a message, resisting the urge to overexplain, or simply letting your calm presence communicate your value. Consider someone who texts once and waits, someone who quietly demonstrates competence at work rather than overexplaining, or a friend who maintains composure in tense moments. Their influence isn't forced. It is magnetic because it is rooted in steadiness, not desperation. Chasing rarely leads to genuine connection. It fills a void inside, but the void never truly disappears through pursuit. When you stop, that void becomes an anchor. Your energy is no longer spent trying to control others, and instead your presence becomes naturally compelling. This is not manipulation. It is the quiet authority that comes from mastery of self. Every time you resist the urge to chase, you reinforce your value. Patience, integrity, and deliberate action carry far more weight than frantic effort ever could. Detachment is a cornerstone of this approach. Letting go does not mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop caring or ignore what matters. Detachment is control. It is the conscious choice to protect your energy, regulate your reactions, and focus on what you can influence. When you stop reacting to every impulse, when you step back from the need to control outcomes, space opens up for clarity and reason. Many confuse detachment with coldness or disinterest. But a person who masters detachment doesn't need to prove their value because their presence already does. Silence, composure, and measured action communicate authority far more effectively than any desperate explanation or repeated effort. Detachment allows you to see situations as they are, without being distorted by fear or desire. It prevents overinvestment in what you cannot control, and it conserves your energy for what truly matters. Think about the professional who delegates without hovering, the partner who trusts without micromanaging, the friend who listens more than they intervene. None of them chase validation, and yet their influence is undeniable. Their calm presence draws attention naturally, simply because it is grounded in principle and discipline. The moment you stop chasing, power begins to rebalance. Connections, relationships, and dynamics shift on their own. Chasing signals neediness and insecurity. Standing firm signals confidence. Your energy is no longer scattered in attempts to control others, and influence flows naturally from your steadiness. Every deliberate pause, every refusal to overreact, every measured action strengthens your magnetic presence. Chasing is often the ego trying to secure certainty. The ego fears uncertainty and craves reassurance, approval, and immediate feedback. But these pursuits only reveal insecurity, not strength. Overexplaining, justifying, or repeating yourself are ways the ego attempts to control what cannot be controlled. True confidence, as the Stoics understood, comes from mastering your own judgments and focusing on what is within your power. By detaching from the ego's demands, you reclaim control over your energy and your presence. Every pause, every deliberate action, every refusal to react impulsively signals stability, authority, and calm. The less you chase, the more people naturally gravitate toward you. Not because of your effort, but because of the grounded certainty you embody. Self-respect is central to this dynamic. True attraction, influence, and meaningful connection always start with self-respect. When you uphold your boundaries, honor your values, and act consistently according to principle, others instinctively recognize your authority. Self-respect is quiet but undeniable. It does not plead, chase, or demand attention. It signals strength, consistency, and reliability. Someone who refuses to overexplain, who does not chase validation, and who maintains composure communicates authority effortlessly. In modern life, where constant communication and social media pressure us to prove our worth, self-respect is profoundly magnetic. People are drawn not to those who demand attention, but to those who stand anchored in their principles. Your energy is preserved for what matters. Your focus remains on growth, and your presence communicates value without effort. Attraction is a byproduct, not a strategy. It cannot be manufactured or forced. The harder you try to gain approval or recognition, the more it eludes you. Stoicism teaches that influence and connection are byproducts of a life lived consistently with your principles. When you focus on character, disciplined action, and composure, attraction follows naturally. Every pause, every deliberate choice, every moment of restraint strengthens your invisible influence. People notice without needing to be persuaded. They respond, adjust, and engage naturally. Less effort in pursuit produces more meaningful results. Your energy is concentrated on actions aligned with your values, not on trying to manipulate others. What you attract reflects your internal stability, not the intensity of your effort. Living anchored instead of chasing transforms every interaction. Influence emerges from consistency, calm, and principle, not reaction or desperation. Your decisions are guided by values rather than impulses, creating a presence that naturally commands respect. By remaining anchored internally, you conserve energy, act deliberately, and cultivate a magnetic presence. Anchoring replaces neediness with confidence, chaos with composure, and reaction with intentionality. Stoicism shows that influence and attraction are byproducts of self-mastery. Less pursuit, more presence. Less chasing, more attracting. Every choice to act from principle strengthens your internal authority. Every pause, every adherence to your standards, every refusal to chase builds a center of power within you. Stop chasing. Stand anchored. Let your principles guide your energy, your actions, and your presence. Influence, attraction, and meaningful engagement will follow naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably. Master yourself first. Honor your values. Maintain your boundaries. Act with deliberate intent. When you do, you create a magnetic presence that draws the right people, opportunities, and experiences toward you. This is the quiet power of Stoicism, the strength of self-mastery, and the art of being truly magnetic without ever forcing it.